Buthena, we are live. Shall we start the session?
Yes.
Good morning, students. Welcome to St. George's University Grenada seminar with SIUK. We have Buthena Hamid, who is the Associate Director for Student Recruitment for Europe and UK international students. Can I please request Buthena to introduce herself and continue with the session? Thank you.
Thank you, Shagun. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, depending on where you're joining us from today. My name is Buthena Hamid. I am an Associate Director at St. George's University School of Medicine. Thank you very much for taking the time to attend today's session. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen and perhaps start in 2 minutes' time, just to give a few more students some time to join. Meanwhile, I just wanted to say throughout today's session, please do utilize the chat function. If you have any questions, please feel free to include those questions in the chat, and we will have a Q&A session at the end of today's session to go over all of your questions. These can be any questions, whether it be about the content that I'm delivering or just about medicine in general or about SGU or the program in particular. Please do utilize this chat function to let us know where you're joining in from today. I myself am currently in London, UK, and really looking forward to talking to you about this presentation, which really focuses on your future in medicine. Because we're all here today because we are considering a future in medicine, and it's all about where are you going to start that journey. So I'm going to go over a lot of information, not only about the university and the program, but also about different pathways to practice, and just talk about some of the outcomes and statistics that SGU graduates and current students have experienced over the years. As I say, please do utilize the chat function to put in any questions you may have. I've already included my details in the chat function. Please feel free to reach out to me after today's session if you have any one-to-one questions that you would like to go over. All right, let's go ahead and start, everyone. So as I said, we're all here because we are considering a future in medicine, and we want to think about where are we going to start that journey. And one of the, important questions you are going to consider is, which medical school am I going to join? But before we talk about that, there are a few really important questions that we really like to discuss with our students early on in those early discussions about a future career in medicine. One of the biggest questions that a lot of people will be asking you, whether that be academics, whether it be during medical school interviews, and also, your different advisors and peers. One of the biggest questions you'll always get is, why do you want to become a doctor? Feel free to utilize the chat function to put in some of those answers. There's no right or wrong answer. So I'm going to display some of the answers that we've gotten over the years. So SGU's been around for just under 50 years now. And over these last 50 years, we obviously have had many conversations with students who are aspiring to become doctors, and we want to help them achieve that goal in becoming a doctor. So as I said, this question is one that we ask many students, and these are some of the answers that we got. As I said, there's no right or wrong answer. It really depends on your circumstances, your personal circumstances. But you can see a number of different answers that I'm sure some of you have already thought of. Some of these answers may be that a student really knows what they want to specialize in, so it's to become a surgeon. Others may be obviously around, helping, so, to help others, to make a difference. Others may be just with regards to opportunities, so research opportunities, scientific contributions, exposure to cutting-edge medical treatment, and the ability, obviously, to save lives and improve the quality of lives, and much more. So there's no right or wrong answer about when thinking about this question, but it is a question that we really should consider. Another equally important question is, where do you want to be a doctor? A lot of us, when thinking about a future in medicine, we focus on the study destination rather than the career outcome. It's really important to always focus on the career outcome first, because understanding where you want to be a doctor is a crucial question to ask when considering what medical school you are looking to join. And the reason for that is there may be some restrictions due to accreditation and recognition that would not allow you to practice in a certain country if you graduated from certain medical schools. So it's really important that we focus on this question, focus on the career outcomes, and we work our way backwards in terms of what is the medical school that is right for you. So we're really focused on determining which country you want to practice medicine in after graduation. And it's really thinking about not only the time that you spend studying, but also what life will you have after graduation. Because as I said, due to accreditation and recognition, you need to make sure that you are choosing a medical school that supports your goal in becoming a practicing physician in that country. And a really interesting statistic is that 96% of first-year students chose where to study based primarily on future career impact. So it is a really important question if you have not considered it yet. So when talking about SGU, I told you the fact that SGU has been around for just under 50 years now. We're actually a very diverse community. We have 150 different nationalities represented between our students and staff. But most importantly, we have graduated just over 22,000 alumni who today are licensed and practicing physicians in all 50 states in the United States, in Canada, in the UK, in Australia, and in over 50 countries around the world. And you can see those countries mapped, pinned on the map in front of you. So a really diverse career outcome when it has come to our graduates over the years. However, it is important to note that the vast majority of students who join SGU because their goal is to become a doctor in the United States. So that's our biggest competitive advantage, which is the pathway to practice in the United States. And there are a number of different reasons as to why that is our biggest advantage and why the vast majority of students who join SGU because they want to become doctors in the US. One of the most important statistics is St. George's University School of Medicine is actually the largest source of doctors for the entire US workforce. And what that means is we've got just over 13,000 alumni who are currently licensed in the US. And what that means is there is no other medical school in the world, whether it be a US medical school or an international medical school, that has the same number of graduates that we do who are currently licensed in the US. And this happens for a number of different reasons. And I'm going to talk to you about why we've had the success that we've had over the years with the US pathway to practice. But before I talk about that, I do want to go over why would you consider a career outcome in the United States? So why would you consider becoming a doctor in the US? There are a number of different factors to take into account. A really important factor is there is a shortage of physicians in the United States, so it is an in-demand profession. Another important factor is that it is a well-established healthcare system with some of the top hospitals and healthcare centers from around the world. It is a patient population from a very diverse culture and background, which is a great opportunity for you as a physician. It gives you a variety of medical cases and conditions. There have been, diagnosis and breakthroughs in the US. It is a culture of continuing medical education. What that means, as we know, medicine is a lifelong learning profession, right? And in the US, there are a lot of opportunities for you in terms of different medical conferences and a lot of different professional development opportunities and events. It is also a hub for modern technologies and treatments. It also offers doctors recreational opportunities. So not only in terms of your professional development and professional opportunities, but also for you as your personal life and your family life. There are a lot of different opportunities in the United States. It's a stable political and economical environment. And most importantly, postgraduate training that may allow doctors to practice around the world. So we said a really important question to ask is, where do you want to become a doctor? Because it's crucial to determine where are you going to study medicine. Another really important factor to take into account is the postgraduate training. So after you finish medical school, you move on to your postgraduate training, which I will talk in depth about in today's session. And it's important to note that basically with the US, postgraduate training is transferable to a lot of different countries around the world if you've done your postgraduate training in the US without the need to do any additional exams or recognitions in place. So we're going to focus in the next few slides on talking about how to become a doctor in the US and what that looks like from an academic perspective, but also what that looks like in terms of a journey. So if you are looking to become a doctor in the US, it's important to note that you have to meet a couple of criteria. Obviously, you are going to have studied medicine, so you're graduating from a medical school. And the two important criteria for you to meet if you are looking to become a doctor in the US is you have to pass your USMLEs, which are the United States Medical Licensing exams, and you have to complete a postgraduate training, which is a residency program. So the image in front of you right now just shows you what that journey looks like. The journey in terms of doing an MD pathway or completing a bachelor's degree before you move on to your basic sciences, your clinical rotations. And at that point, you will have graduated medical school to move on to your postgraduate training, which is your residency program. And I'm going to talk about each of those stages in depth so you understand what those stages include and whether or not you would qualify at what entry point with St. George's University School of Medicine. As I said, if you're looking to become a doctor in the US, you have to meet two criteria. So we're going to focus on those two criteria first. The first one is you have to pass your USMLEs, which are your United States Medical Licensing exams. And the second criteria is you have to complete your postgraduate training at a US hospital, which is your US residency. What is a US residency? A US residency is a postgraduate training program. It is hospital employment. So whereas while you are at medical school, you are learning, you are a student and you are paying tuition, during your postgraduate training, you are actually employed by the hospital. It is fast-paced, it is hands-on, it is work with real patients. However, you will be under the supervision of a licensed doctor. It's important to note that the duration of a US residency will vary depending on the specialty. So if you're looking to do internal medicine, you would be looking at a 3-year residency program after completing your medical school. And if you were looking at neurosurgery, for example, you would be looking at a 7-year US residency program. And it's important to note that obviously residencies are not guaranteed. However, you apply to a US residency program during your final year of medical school. Another really important factor to take into account as to whether or not these opportunities would be available to you is accreditation. So it's important that you understand the accreditation to support your medical career pathway. So if you are looking to become a doctor in the United States, then every student who graduates from an international medical school must be certified by the Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates to obtain a US residency. You also have to have graduated from an international medical school that firstly is accredited, Secondly, its accreditor must be recognized by WIFME, which is the World Federation for Medical Education. And I'm glad to note that St. George's University School of Medicine is fully accredited. Our accreditor are Grenada Medical and Dental Council, who they themselves are recognized by WIFME, which is the World Federation for Medical Education. And what that means is St. George's University School of Medicine students have access to clinical rotations. They have access to the USMLE STEP exams. They have access to US residency programs. They have access to US licensure applications. In addition to that, we are also recognized by the US National Committee on Foreign Medical Education and Accreditation, which deemed our accreditation, which is by Grenada Medical and Dental Council, comparable to a US accreditation. I realize it's a lot of information to take on. However, it's important that you do your research when considering medical school. And as I say, the focus is always on career outcome, and we work our way backwards towards the correct choice of medical school. And right now, we're focusing on the US as a career outcome and what that would mean when considering a medical school that would allow you to go through the process to become a licensed physician in the United States. Now, still talking about US residencies, which, as I said, are our postgraduate training programs that happen after medical school. It's important to note that St. George's University is actually the largest provider of doctors into first-year US residencies, and we have been for the last 10 years. So, for example, in 2023, we had over 1,000 US residencies obtained, and our students secured residencies in 21 different specialities in 2023, and they were across 46 different states in the United States. And you can see these different residency specialities listed with the percentage beside each residency speciality. And these are our statistics specifically for 2023. Let's talk generally about what the statistics look like for US residency placement. As I said, in 2023, we had over 1,000 US residencies obtained upon graduation, and that was across 46 different states in 2023. Now, our residency placement rates, and this is for our Canadian and international graduates only in 2023, was 97%. And this is an exceptional US residency placement rate. It's important to note that at SGU, we have transparency when it comes to sharing our outcomes and our statistics. And when we do so, we ensure that the statistics that are shared with you are relevant to you as a student. We have quite a large US national cohort, and we separate these statistics for our US nationals versus our Canadian and international graduates. And that's just to make sure that when you are looking at those statistics, you are looking at statistics that are relevant to your circumstances and are a representation of the success that you could achieve. So I'm going to play a short video and move along with the presentation. And this one is going to focus on residencies.
This morning I was doing a delivery, and then before I could even drink something, I went into a C-section. And then before I could have something to eat, I was here in clinic seeing patients, and really every day is different.
The purpose of residency is to have the student go through individualized training where they can become an expert in their particular field of choice.
We're proud to say that throughout our history, SGU graduates have been successful in matching into residency programs throughout the US. This is obviously a very critical outcome.
Okay, moving on. So we're still focusing on the US as a career outcome, and we spoke about a really important factor, which is the US residency program And now we're going to move on to the second factor, which is the USMLE. So if you are looking to become a licensed doctor in the US, you have to complete a postgraduate training, which is a US residency, and you have to pass your USMLEs, which are your United States Medical Licensing exams. And there are 3-step exams. There's step 1, and you would usually take step 1 after your basic sciences. So if you are joining us at the graduate level, you would be doing a 4-year program, and you would do your USMLE after your second year. So your USMLE step 1, you would do after your second year. It's important to note that SGU fully prepares students for the USMLE, and our exams are actually formatted in a way that is quite similar to USMLE step 1. You then move on to take your USMLE step 2 during your final year of clinical rotations, before you then move on to take your USMLE step 3, which is taken during your residency program. So it's after you've actually graduated medical school and are on your residency program. Now, looking at statistics again in terms of success rates, so you can see that the percentages in front of you represent our pass rates for USMLE Step 1 and our pass rates for USMLE Step 2. However, they specifically represent that for international first-time test takers, and that's over the last 5 years. So 90% was our USMLE Step 1 pass rate for international first-time test takers over the last 5 years, and 91% was our USMLE Step 2 pass rate for international first-time test takers over the last 5 years. I'm going to show you a short video about the USMLE before I move on to tell you more about St. George's University School of Medicine, the program, and we can discuss various career outcomes.
So in terms of being prepared for the Step 1 USMLE exam, we are thrown multiple choice questions in many different ways. We do them with our classmates in class. We get practice questions every week. We have tests within our term that simulate how the Step 1 is going to be.
When I took Step 1, for me, it felt like taking another St. George's test. I felt, very, very prepared.
So in terms of being prepared.
My apologies. Okay, now that we've spoken about the USMLE and we've spoken about US residency, I'd like to go back and talk about the MD program itself. St. George's University School of Medicine runs an MD degree, which is a medical doctor degree. And there's the MD pathway, and then there's the 4-year MD program, which includes your basic sciences and then your clinical rotations. I'm going to start with the clinical rotations and work my way backwards. So your final 2 years at St. George's University School of Medicine are actually hospital-based. So during those final 2 years, you'll have first-hand experience working with patients under direct supervision, and each and every one of our students will be given a primary advisor within and throughout those clinical rotations. So the final 2 years, you are going to be, as I said, at hospitals. The hospitals are going to be within our clinical network of hospitals, and I'll tell you more about them. And what you are going to cover over those 2 years includes the first year of clinical rotations, where you cover your core clinical rotations, and you do 42 weeks of core clinical rotations, and you do specialities such as internal medicine, surgery, pediatrics, OBGYN, and psychiatry. And during your final year, which is your second year of clinical rotations, you will do 38 weeks of clinical rotations. And that's where you will do family medicine, you will do sub-internships in various different specialities. Then you will have 26 weeks to do medicine electives and additional electives. Those 2 years are within our clinical network of hospitals. So we have 75 plus hospitals, and they are across the US and the UK. In the US, our hospitals are across 12 different locations, including New York, New Jersey, California, Florida, Michigan, Ohio, and others. And in the UK, we are across 8 different locations, and the vast majority of our hospitals are in the south of England. So we have the Greater London area, we have Kent, we have Southampton, Dorset, and others. And what that means is we have 1,500 clinical faculty situated within those 75 plus hospitals within our healthcare, within our clinical network. And what that means is that each and every one of you as an SGU student would have clinical rotation support at SGU and would also have clinical rotation support at each of those hospitals. So within the university, you'll continue to have support from the dean, from the associate deans and department chairs, from the placement and clinical coordinators, and from the Office of Career Guidance and Student Development. Whereas within each of the hospitals, you will have clinical rotation support from the Director of Medical Education, from the clerkship directors, from the clinical faculty, and from the medical education coordinators. So let's watch a short video about the hospitals and move on to talk about the basic sciences.
After you finish your first 2 years of medical school, the last 2 years are what we call your clinical rotations. Now you are working with residents and attending physicians where you're actually learning a particular specialty field.
Clearly, one of the key advantages of coming to St. George's is the ability to do clinical rotations in the United States.
I mentor and counsel individual medical students to be successful in their clinical years, both in the hospital and to help increase their ability to obtain residency positions.
I do believe that these clinical rotations are probably the most important aspect in trying to narrow down what you want to do for residency, because you can come in wanting to do one thing, and once you actually experience it, it's a very different scenario.
We have relationships with over 75 hospitals. So it's really an opportunity for our students to think about, where do I want to train and where do I want to get into a residency?
It's really giving me the opportunity to experience a lot of different kinds of specialties and helping me see what I would like and what I don't like.
Excellent. Okay, let's move backwards and talk about the basic sciences. So these are the first 2 years of the 4-year MD program. So these 2 years are on-campus learning. So you will be learning on campus throughout those 2 years. And the first year focuses on clinical integration of normal structure, function, and behavior. And it will also focus on the major organ systems. Whereas during your second year, you will focus on the abnormal structure, the function, and the behavior around the organ systems. And then you will focus on the threads of basic sciences, knowledge, clinical skills, ethics, and health promotion. And I'm going to talk to you more in depth about each of those years at St. George's and what they would look like in terms of not only content of delivery, but also in terms of the different opportunities that may be available to you with location. But before I do so, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the support that you would get at SGU. At SGU, we offer a very personalized level of support and guidance system to each and every one of our students. So you have quite a personalized approach when it comes to studying medicine. So we have 450 campus-based faculty, and all of our professors are either MD or PhD holders or equivalent. My apologies. We also have our Department of Educational Services, which basically offers the academic guidance and support. And that happens through assistance with your coursework. It happens with collaborative weekly group sessions, and it happens with really focusing on skill development. So there'll be a lot of focus on support through learning how to learn best, learning time management skills, learning note-taking skills and strategy, learning test-taking skills and critical thinking, and much more. There's also a lot of preparation that happens with students around exam time and around the test-taking support that is required in order for you to achieve your fullest potential at St. George's University School of Medicine. We also have faculty members who provide mentorship opportunities to you. So there'll be a number of different workshops available. There'll be tutoring opportunities. There'll be research project opportunities, and there'll also be individual consultation opportunities to you. Students will also have access to peer groups that will be led by student leaders. Again, that's for a different type of mentorship opportunities, which is a peer mentorship. Let's see a short video on the support at SGU, and we will come back to talk a little bit more about SGU's offering.
When you were an undergrad, you learned what is. Now you have to learn what's clinical.
So one of the things we do here is we set up a large number of simulation rooms where we can train our students in terms of the physical interactions of actually being with a patient.
Charging. Everybody clear?
Clear. Even though that's strictly thought about as a clinical endeavor in the 3rd and 4th year, we start our students very early on. It's a critical part of their learning.
Oh, breathing on its own. Breathing on its own. Nice job.
Brilliant.
When you were an undergrad, you learned what it.
My apologies, the video keeps replaying. Okay, let's talk about additional support that is available to students, which is non-academic. So there are a number of different student organizations that are available on campus. We have 75 plus student organizations. Many of them are professional organizations such as Women in Medicine, Pediatrics and Medicine, and all different specialities. But we also have other student organizations that range around cultural interest, religious interest, social interest, political interest. And in addition to that, there are a number of different academic groups that are always available to support you throughout your SGU journey. We also have our state-of-the-art brand new gym on campus, and we have a number of different outdoor recreation opportunities available to students. We have our Global Student Lounge, which contains our Office of International Student Support Services that will help you throughout your time at SGU with any visa and immigration advice, any cultural adjustment support required, and any peer mentoring programs that will be available to you. Okay, let's talk about a really important advantage at St. George's University School of Medicine, which is location. It's important to note that SGU offers you the opportunity to be subjected to a number of different locations if you wish to do so. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the location, but just to let you know, our main campus is this image in front of you, which is our True Blue campus, and that is in Grenada, the Caribbean. We also have a partnership with a UK university, which is Northumbria University, that allows you to study part of the program here in the UK if you wish to do so. And then, as you recall from today's presentation, we have our clinical network of hospitals, and they're across the UK and across the US. So I'll show you short videos around Grenada and the UK as destinations. And what that allows you as an advantage is it's an opportunity to be subjected to different healthcare systems. It's an opportunity to have a different student experience. And it's a really important opportunity for you to grow not only your personal network, but also your professional network. My apologies, I think there's no audio on this video, but you're still able to see the campus, the facility itself. It's a state-of-the-art facility. It has 65 different buildings on premises. It has all of our teaching facilities, our lab, our library, our student accommodation is on premises as well. We have our state-of-the-art gym, as I mentioned, and then also we have a number of different outdoor recreation opportunities available. As we cater to students from all around the world, there are also all different dietary requirements taken into account on campus at St. George's. This is Newcastle in the UK, where our partner university is located, which is Northumbria University, and that allows you to study part of the program in the UK if you wish to do so. And I'll go through that with you in the next few slides in terms of where those location opportunities are available to you. But as I say, it's really a huge advantage because of the opportunity to be subjected to different healthcare systems, because of the opportunity to have a different student experience, and because of the opportunity to really grow your personal and professional networks. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about SGU's program as an offering. St. George's University School of Medicine, as I mentioned, runs an MD degree, which is a medical doctor degree. And we run the MD degree at a number of different entry levels. We have our MD pathway program. So we have a 7-year MD pathway, a 6-year MD pathway, a 5-year MD pathway. And then we have our 4-year MD degree. And the student's entry level depends on your academic background. And you can see below each year, there's either one flag or multiple flags represented. And what those flags represent are a possible location. The 7-year program, for example, is designed for students who have got GCSE or equivalent or an American high school. And what that would mean is actually it would be mandatory for you to do your first 5 years on our main campus in Grenada. And then you can do your clinical rotations in our clinical network of hospitals in the US or in the UK, or you can do a year in the US and a year in the UK. If you have AS level or equivalent, then you would be eligible to apply to our 6-year MD pathway, which means you can do the first 3 years at our partner university here in the UK, which is Northumbria University in the city of Newcastle. The 4th year, as you can see, there is only one flag represented, so it is mandatory on our main campus in Grenada, before you move on to do your final 2 years of clinical rotations. And you can do those clinical rotations in the US or in the UK, or a combination of the US and the UK. If you choose to do the first 3 years at Northumbria, you will graduate with an MD degree, which is a medical doctor degree from St. George's University School of Medicine. And you will also graduate with a BMed Sci, which is a Bachelor's of Medical Sciences from Northumbria University. Alternatively, you could do the first 4 years on our main campus in Grenada, and then your final 2 years of clinical rotations in the US or the UK, or a combination of the US and the UK. And what that would mean is you would graduate with an MD degree, which is a medical doctor degree from St. George's University School of Medicine. My apologies. As for the 5-year MD pathway, this program is designed for students who have got 3 full A levels, have got a medicine foundation or an IB diploma. And you would be looking at doing either the first 3 years on our main campus in Grenada, and then the final 2 years of clinical rotations in the US or in the UK, or a combination. Or alternatively, you could do the first 2 years at Northumbria University. The 3rd year would be mandatory on our main campus in Grenada, and then the final 2 years of clinical rotations in the US or in the UK. Again, if you do the first 2 years at Northumbria, you would graduate with your MD degree, which is your medical doctor degree from St. George's University School of Medicine, and your BMed Sci, which is your Bachelor's of Medical Sciences from Northumbria University. It's important to note that the quality of education is exactly the same regardless of location. It is an SGU curriculum taught by SGU faculty, leading to the same SGU outcomes. Finally, if you are a student currently on a BSc program, so if you're currently doing a bachelor's degree in biomedical sciences or equivalent, or you've already completed a bachelor's degree or equivalent or higher, you would be eligible to apply to our graduate route, which is our 4-year MD degree, which includes the 2 years of basic sciences that we covered, followed by the 2 years of clinical rotations. So again, you could either do the first 2 years on our main campus in Grenada, the Caribbean, and then the final 2 years of clinical rotations in the US or the UK within our clinical network of hospitals. or a combination of both. Or alternatively, you could actually do the first year here in the UK at our partner university, which is Northumbria University. The second year would be mandatory on our main campus in Grenada. And then the final 2 years of clinical rotations in our clinical network of hospitals in the US or in the UK. That leads me on to sort of the last part of today's presentation. I appreciate you all taking the time to go through the presentation with me. And then the last thing I want to touch base after this as well is just to talk about the UK as a career outcome for those of you who are considering becoming doctors in the UK. Because our focus today has been on the US as a career outcome, but as I explained in today's presentation, that really is due to St. George's University's competitive advantage when it comes to, our results with the USMLE, our results with the residency placement rates, the fact that we are the largest source of physicians for the entire US workforce. But let's talk about what it would look like if you were considering applying to St. George's University School of Medicine. A few things that are really important for you to take into account. The first thing is we have rolling admissions, which means that there is no set deadline for you to submit an application. And actually, applications are still open for our August/September 2024 intake. We also are a direct application, so you don't need to apply to us through UCAS or any other website. We are a direct application outside of UCAS. We are an additional choice and do not impact any of your other medical school choices. We do not require the UCAT or any other medical entrance exam. So the way it works with SGU is you would submit an application. I'm joined today, obviously, by our partner, SRUK, here in London. You can reach out to them for counseling opportunities. They will guide you through the application process and support you from A to Z. So you would submit an application and provide all supporting documents, so a copy of passport, previous and current academic transcripts and certificates, any English language proficiency tests where applicable, depending on your nationality, a CV if you're applying to our graduate route, outlining your extracurriculars, voluntary and work experience. You are going to be required to write a personal statement as part of the application as well. And finally, you are also going to require 2 letters of recommendation, with a minimum of one of them being an academic letter. The second can be a professional, or both to be academic letters of recommendation. Once you've submitted your application and provided all supporting documents, it's at that point that you would be considered for a decision on whether or not you would be granted an interview. So if you're successful at stage 1, you would be granted an interview, and SGU interviews are conducted virtually via Zoom, and they are one-to-one interviews. So it's yourself and the interviewer, who they themselves are a practicing physician. And then once you've completed your interview, you then go into final review for a final decision on placement. If you are successful and you are accepted, you will receive your conditional offer with your academic and English language condition where applicable. And then we will guide you through to your unconditional and work with you on visa arrangements. And then obviously you would travel and start your medical degree with St. George's University School of Medicine. I would like to highlight that our main intake is our August/September intake. And I say August/September because on our main campus in Grenada, the Caribbean, we start our term in August. And at our partner university here in the UK, which is Northumbria University in the city of Newcastle in the north of England, we start our intake in September. We also have another intake, which is in January every year. And depending on your entry level, it may be open on both campuses or specific to a specific campus. So that's sort of an overview of the application process and what to expect. As I say, it is a direct application, no UCAT or MCAT or any other medical entrance exam required. Relatively quick turnaround. It can take up to 4 to 6 weeks for a final decision on placement at St. George's University School of Medicine. And finally, before I move on to the Q&A session and hand over to Shagun to manage that for me, before I move on to that, I just want to talk about the UK as a career outcome. So if you're considering becoming a doctor in the UK, so similar to the US, there is postgraduate training that is required, which we refer to here in the UK as Foundation Year 1, Foundation Year 2, where you'll get your provisional, then full GMC license before you move on to additional training to become either a general practitioner or a consultant here in the UK. And historically, our graduates used to have to sit the PLAB exams. There have been some changes to the General Medical Council here in the UK, and there is a new exam which is introduced, which is the UK MLA, which is the United Kingdom Medical Licensing Assessment for students who are looking to become doctors in the UK. And I think I will end today's session on that note, and we will move on to our Q&A session.
Thank you, Buttaina. Thank you, students. So please feel free to unmute your mic or drop in any questions that you have in the chat box. We have one question as of now. Hi, may I ask the requirements needed to apply? I am a BS nursing graduate and licensed in nursing in the Philippines.
Hi, thank you for your question. So you can be considered for our 4-year MD program. So you can apply, you can set a meeting with SIUK for a consultation, and they will guide you through the application process onto our 4-year program. You can obviously do so either by applying to our main campus in Grenada, which would mean you do your first 2 years of basic sciences on our main campus in Grenada, and then your clinical rotations in the US or the UK, or you can apply to our Northumbria campus, which would mean you can do your first year here in the UK, your second year in Grenada, and then your final 2 years at our clinical network of hospitals in the US or in the UK. We would be looking, as I said, in terms of an assessment, we would be looking at your academic performance, your personal statement, your extracurriculars, voluntary and work experience, and your letters of recommendation, and how you perform during the SGU interview. I myself guide students through the process, so I am here to support you and any prospect St. George's University School of Medicine students in their journey of enrolling at SGU. So if you do decide to apply, reach out to SIUK. Once you have completed your application, we will connect so I can guide you through the application process. We can talk about interview preparation, and I'll guide you through each and every one of the steps until you enroll at SGU. Thank you.
We have another question as well. Can we also discuss the tuition fees for international students?
Yes, absolutely. So the tuition fees vary every year. Every year is slightly different. So if I take the 5-year as an example, just because it's in between. So for example, with the 5-year program, the first year is our preclinical year. And there are 2 terms, and each term is roughly around $20,000 per term. Then once you move on to your second year, which is your first year of basic sciences, there are 2 terms also on that year. And each year is roughly around just over $30,000. And then in terms of terms, and then for your third year, you have 2 terms in terms of payment. One's about 49,000, one's about 39,000. And then your final 2 years of clinical rotations have 5 terms, and each is around $37,000 in terms of tuition fees. There are a number of different scholarship opportunities that are available at SGU. Scholarships are awarded mainly based on merit or based on financial needs. We have a scholarship committee in place who will assess those elements, but you can only be considered for a scholarship once you've gone through the full application process and have been accepted at SGU.
Thank you, Butena. Students, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute your mic and ask Butena.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Arya.
Hello. I want to ask you about a master's degree about clinical psychology. Do you have a master's degree in clinical psychology in your university?
So the program we recruit our international students onto is the MD degree, which is the medical doctor degree at St. George's University School of Medicine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Arya. I've just to let
Hello,
everyone
good day.
know. Hi. Sorry, my apologies. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I just have a quick question. So I am currently in the UK. I am enrolled at university doing my foundation year in medical science. However, I do have an Associate of Science degree and I do have a bit of work experience. I'm currently working at Poole Hospital, and I back home where I'm from in the British Virgin Islands, I did a 1 year work experience in the pharmacy and laboratory at one of the private clinics, and I also did an internship in high school as a nurse assistant. And I just wanted to know, based on those things, how eligible I would be to apply for the MD program.
So it's important to note that we have a faculty committee who make an assessment on each and every student based on all the factors that I'd mentioned earlier today, such as your personal statement, your previous and current academics, your extracurriculars, voluntary and work experience, your letters of recommendation, and how you perform during interview. However, having heard what you've just mentioned, I would definitely encourage you to set up a meeting with me so we can talk about your individual case and what would be the correct entry level for you at St. George's University School of Medicine. I have included my details again in the chat function. You can see that there is a Calendly link in the signature. Please feel free to schedule in a one-to-one follow-up meeting with me so we can discuss your specific academic background and what is your entry level at St. George's University School of Medicine. Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time? Where do I find it?
Shagun, maybe if you can share my details. I'm not sure if everyone can see my details.
Yes. Let me just.
Let me just send them to you as well, Antoinette.
I've sent it on the group chat. So it has like a link, so you can book a time slot as well.
There is a link that says Calendly. So if you click on that link, you can schedule in a one-to-one follow-up meeting with me so we can discuss your specific case and how to move forward with your SGU application and what entry level would be the right program for you to apply to at SGU.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We had a few more students walk in the last couple of minutes. Students, do you have any questions for Butena? Also, just to mention as well, we'll be sending the presentation to you by email, so you can have a look and also contact SIUK or Butena as required. Students, we have last 7 minutes left in our online seminar, so feel free to ask any questions.
Feel free to type in the questions if you prefer not to unmute yourself, or feel free to unmute yourself and ask the questions at any time. But while we might have some questions come in, I just wanted to thank you all for taking the time today to attend today's session. I appreciate you taking the time to learn more about St. George's University School of Medicine, our offering, and some of our competitive advantages. And I look forward to connecting with you independently should you wish to learn a bit more about SGU based on your specific academic background and your own experience, if you do have some. As you know, obviously with SGU, we do run the 4-year MD program, which is our graduate route, and that is for students who have got a BSc or equivalent or higher. However, obviously, we still do run the MD pathways. So for students who are, doing their A-levels or doing their IB or doing their foundation, you are still obviously more than welcome to apply to St. George's University School of Medicine, whether that be to our main campus in Grenada, the Caribbean, or to our partner university in the UK, which is Northumbria University. It's a phenomenal opportunity for you to really focus in terms of the career outcomes, because I think that's the biggest advantage with St. George's, and the level of support and guidance that would get you to those, to achieving those career outcomes. But thank you all for your time today. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Shagun, and the wider SIUK team for arranging this seminar. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Buthena. We'll wait for 1 more minute. If anybody doesn't have any questions, then we would end the session.
Bonjour.
Hello?
Bonjour. Oui, hello, bonjour.
Sorry, did you have a question?
J'ai une question, mais je préfère aller en français.
I apologize. I don't speak any French. Shagun, is there anyone on the team who can speak some who speaks some French?
I'm not sure. Let me just double check.
Ok, désolé.
I'm sure they do have members who do speak French, so I would advise that you set up a follow-up with SIUK, and they'll be able to guide you as well. Perhaps maybe not on this seminar particularly at this time, but they'll definitely be able to guide you in your application journey.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, we don't have anybody on our team who speaks in French. Apologies. But thank you everybody for your time. And we will end the session now. I will also personally send you a presentation with all of the details. So please feel free to get in touch with us. Thank you. Thank you, Buthena.
Thank you very much, Shagun. Thank you again, everyone. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.